In this segment, I want to talk about fall prevention, preventing the pals from falling. Falling with a pal is very, very serious because the pal doesn't have the ability to put their arms out and break their fall. So when they fall very hard. In the case of my wife, when she fell straight on her face and lacerated her face with her glasses very seriously, and we ended up hours in the OR, ambulance to the OR, hours in the OR, fighting with the EMT people about not keeping her flat on the board and that she needed to sit up. Real disaster. So whatever you can do to prevent the pal from falling is very, very, very critical, both for you and for them. If the pal should fall later in their ALS, it's going to be very doubtful that they're going to be able to be operated on because they can't be given anesthesia. So preventing falls from the beginning is important. Later on, it just becomes even more critical. The pal probably, in most cases, does not bounce back. In my experience and the experience of other people I know, caregivers who have been dealing with ALS, if the patient, the pals has a fall, as my wife did, they seem to come back 60–70% of where they were before the fall. So the fall, a bad fall, really drops them down from an emotional and a physical standpoint a lot. They lose a lot with a fall. In my wife's case, she didn't fall because she tripped, which is very something you got to be aware of. We were in the mall. She was walking with me. I had my arm in her arm. She wasn't using a walker at that time. She was walking reasonably well. It was a perfectly flat floor, and she just fell. She just collapsed right on her face, right in front of me. So you got to be aware that this can happen at any time. This isn't something that you're going to be aware of. It's one of those benchmarks. And it seems like every ALS patient I know has had a fall of some sort. And some have been more serious than others, so you've got to prevent it. The ALS patient, the PALS, is not going to want to use a walker. Again, it's a benchmark that they don't want to get near. And it's a sign that they've reached a new point and they don't want to acknowledge it. So they're going to fight using a walker or a cane or any kind of assistance. Again, this is where the neurologist comes in. The neurologist has to be able to talk on a frank basis with the PALS and tell them that falling is just horrendously horrible, serious problem. They got to do whatever they can to prevent a fall. And if it means using a walker, then that's a simple solution. I got my wife a walker. The only mistake I made, a rolling walker with a seat on it, which was very helpful because when she got tired, she could use the walker as a seat. We also used it when we went to baseball games. She used it as a seat. The problem is I didn't get a walker with big enough wheels. Some walkers come with small wheels, some walkers come with very large wheels. And you want to get one with large wheels because it just makes rolling over sidewalks and things like that much better, and it just makes it more stable. So I would consider one with large wheels rather than the smaller wheels. Eventually, the PALS may experience a drop foot situation, and then the neurologist will start talking to you about orthotics or foot ups of ways to keep the foot drop at a minimum so that they're not going to trip as they're walking. But the whole point of this segment is to make you aware that whatever you can do as early as you can to prevent the PAL from falling is very, very important for both you and the PALs.